Hi again folks, it's Dodger at the Drone Newbies channel. So today I'm going to show you how I was able to convert my Mini 4 Pro to a handheld Steadicam. It can be used for B-roll and close-up shots and other shots from the ground where you don't really want to fly your drone. So this is particularly for people who can't really afford to spend between $300 to $3,000 for an actual handheld Steadicam. So stand by and I'll show you how I do it. So before getting started, there are a couple of extra devices that you're going to need in order to make this work. The first one is a small device I bought from AliExpress called a Mini 4 Pro airdrop system. It looks like this. It's a small device. It's got a little clamp and a screw. It clamps around the Mini 4 Pro. Normally it's used for dropping things from your drone. But what I've done instead is I've discovered that I can slide the little dropping motor out and just use the bracket. So I'm using the bracket on its own without the dropping motor. Now normally this little device would be used for dropping things from your drone at altitude. I've got one warning for you: don't order it from Amazon. The Amazon version is the exact same device, but on Amazon.ca they're asking $75 for this. If you use AliExpress, you could definitely save yourself a few dollars. I think it cost me $12 or $13 at AliExpress. Much cheaper. So one small note about this particular dropping device that makes it a little different than some of the other drone droppers that I've seen is this little threaded bolt built into the top of the clamp. So essentially the drone dropper is just a clamp that attaches around the Mini 4 Pro, and then it tightens up with the screw on the clamp side to the left here, this little fella here. So I discovered that I could drop the dropper motor portion off the bracket and just use the clamp with the threaded screw on top of my Mini 4 Pro. It's still not a perfect solution, but it'll get you through it in a pinch if you need close-up shots or shots from the ground with a Steadicam to fill in your video project. Now, the second device that I purchased for this little project is a small bracket that was originally designed to mount your RC2 controller to a bicycle or a motorcycle handlebar. Me, personally, I have enough just focusing on driving my motorcycle, let alone fighting with a drone controller and a drone while I'm trying to keep the motorcycle vertical. It's very doubtful I'll be using it for its intended purpose, but it worked very well for creating a handheld Steadicam. Little bike tripod mount I purchased, I got from Amazon. It's from a company called HiRC. I'll show you what it looks like here. That's the little bracket. It's called HiRC, or the company name is HiRC, H-E-I-Y-R-C. It's called a bike tripod mount, and it goes for $19.99 Canadian on AliExpress. Pretty cheap. It looks like it's made out of cast aluminum, and it should be sturdy enough for my purposes. I'll put links for both devices down below. So with these two cheap devices, it's quite easy to make yourself a handheld Steadicam. Here's how I did it. The first step is to remove the dropper motor module from the drone dropping attachment bracket. Like so, it just slips off. All I'm really interested in is the bracket itself that would normally hold the drone dropper to the drone, mainly for the tripod screw that's at the top of the bracket. The little motor dropper mount slides right off the bracket by pushing it backwards until it pops off. So after sliding the dropper motor off the bracket by pushing it backwards until it pops off, this just leaves me with the bracket, bare bracket that attaches to my Mini 4 Pro. It clamps around the drone like so, and there's a small screw here that's used to attach it to the drone itself. So let me go ahead and get this thing mounted. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we want to attach our little bracket to the drone itself. So the simplest way to do that, set the bracket down, set the drone on it, make sure that the bracket is in the right spot, close up the little hinge and put the screw in. Now that the screw is tightened down, along with that screw,
Now that the screw is tightened down, we now have our little drone dropper bracket with no drone dropper motor attached to the top of the drone. The second part, which is just as important, is connecting this to the back of the DJI RC2 controller. There are two small screws here, and they screw into the two screw holes that are on the back of the controller. And as you can see, there's a small screw hole here, or a bolt hole, that matches tripod mounts. So what I do next, to attach the drone to the controller, I turn the controller upside down, place the drone screw from the drone dropper into the little bracket, and then tighten it down to the point where the drone is facing forward. Once the drone is facing forward, we're pretty much good to go. Now I've got the RC2 controller with my Mini 4 Pro attached to it. Now yes, you do have to leave the arms and the propeller out, otherwise this little bracket interferes with the arms and the propellers. So I just use it with the arms and the propellers out. There's no risk, as long as you don't intend on starting them up, there's no risk of damaging anything in this manner. The drone and the RC2 are attached together, and I would normally use it in this manner. Once I make sure that the drone is straight, by simply walking around with the drone attached to the controller as it is now.
So this is me walking around my apartment using the Mini 4 Pro as my Steadicam attached to the bottom of my RC2. Now you can't see it, but I'm shaking this camera around quite heavily. I'm moving it side to side, I'm tilting it to the left and to the right, and the camera's just staying as steady as can be. Same thing through here. You can't even really see my footsteps. You can see the camera bobbing up and down a little tiny bit, but I'm actually walking fairly heavily throughout the house as I record this. The camera is just hanging below my controller, and it's as smooth as anything, just as smooth as any Steadicam. Please excuse the mess. I have a busy office. And now we'll do a little comparison. I'll take a little walk with my iPhone.
Alright, so recording with the iPhone, walking around my office. As you can see, the image is not nearly as closely as stable as when I did it with the Steadicam portion of my drone. I'll continue to walk around the living room, and I'll tilt my camera back and forth just like I was doing with the drone. I was doing the same thing with the drone as I'm doing with my camera now. It's a little dark in here, so my iPhone is having a hard time getting a good focus. We'll take essentially the same route. And note that although the video footage exists and it might be usable for some folks, it's not near as smooth. And that's about it for my Mini Pro 4 drone Steadicam. I can see lots of situations where I'm going to be using this when I need to get close-up shots and they're a little too close to be comfortable for the drone. So next time, hopefully I'll be able to incorporate some more interesting shots with the standard drone images. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you on the next one. Dodger out.